Quick video update. It is Monday, week 4, low secure me. I haven't talked to y'all since last Monday. So Wednesday, skip Tuesday, whatever, Wednesday, we have our CDL test. And I wake up, get my run in, work out, shower, get dressed, you know what I mean, feeling good, locked in, got the earphones in, music, boom. We get up there at 5 a.m., we pre-trip, do the air brakes, go through the whole thing. And I'm just feeling confident, I'm feeling ready, you know what I mean? I'm even speaking into existence, like, man, I wanna go first. I'm gonna set the tone, blah, 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 blah. I get there, I end up going second. Really first, because I was like the first round of people to go because it was 3 instructors. So, long story short, I kill it, you know what I mean? I come in, I do the pre-trip. I ain't gonna say I fumbled a little bit, but I was like just trying to get through it. And then also like they wasn't as strict as, you know, our instructors was making it seem, but I think they were just trying to make sure we was over prepared. So I knocked that out, boom, pass. He like, all right, bro. Like he understand, like he like, all right, bro, I know you know this stuff, you get it. Like, come on, let's get through it, go ahead, finish. Like he ain't really being like, you know, so boom, knock that out. Then I get to the maneuvers, pull around to the maneuvers, boom, pull forward, first maneuver, put the bumper in the box, boom, did that, 0 points. Pull through, then do my straight line backing. Wasn't perfect, you know what I mean? Kind of swayed a little bit, but I got on point, got back where I needed to. Boom, knocked that maneuver out. So went through 2 maneuvers, 0 points. Next maneuver, forward serpentine or forward offset. When you go forward and then boom, you gotta track your trailer, make sure you don't hit the tires, and then make sure your wheels go through the line. Boom, knock that out. I think I nailed it perfect. No points on that one, boom. So I get to the backward offset or the backward serpentine where you gotta put it back in the box and then drop that bumper in the back box. So got to that, 0 points. I do that, right? And like I said, I had the perfect setup. So I back up to my cone, to my landmark. This is before I bend my trailer, right? So I want my shit to go right. So I go hard left. Boom, I do my hard left. Then do my hard right, get back in front of my trailer, line up my 45-degree angle, right? I'm looking for my 2 twin cones, make sure I got proper spacing in between to know that I can walk my trailer back in the box. I don't see my driver's side cone. So I'm like, damn. But all the training and the practice and all the messing up I did and learning how to get myself out of tough situations, I didn't panic. I'm like, all right, I can't see my cone, right? So I'm gonna just bend it to the right more. So I go hard left again. You know what I mean? But I don't go as hard as the first one. I just go like half hard. Now, I mean, I go all the way hard right, but I don't hold it for 2 shoes. And I'll explain that another time. I hold it for 1 shoe and then boom. It's still a little tight on my driver's side, but that's cool because if you know you tight on the driver's side, then you know you got plenty of room on your passenger side, right? So boom, I walk it back, and then I get out, use my first get out and look, line it up. All right, my driver's side corner of my trailer is lined up with my cone. It's a little tight here, but cool. I can kind of open that up as I walk it back a little more. Plenty of room on the other side, right? Jump back in the truck. So I bend it in there, right? So now I want my trailer to track left, so I go hard right. Bend it in there and get back in front of my trailer. Now what happens is I'm too tight to my right side. And too many times I fuck that up because when I get too tight, I ain't gonna say I get to panicking, but I be trying to overcorrect and I end up hitting cones or like just be too worried about that cone and not managing my trailer and my space. So, but I knew what to do. So as I was backing it in, I was cool, but I seen I was tight. And it's funny, I'm gonna tell you what the instructor said to me afterwards. So I'm like, all right, instead of trying to correct it with minimal space ahead, because you can't go outside the box, I just keep backing up to get myself space in the front, and then I just pull forward, right? I pull to the right side to get my trailer away from there, and then get back in front of my truck, right? So I'm straight, and then I just back it down into the box. Perfect, knocked it out. And the instructor said he glad that I pulled up and corrected, because if I didn't, he would have not failed me, because I think if I missed that, I still would have passed the test with 5 points. But it's not about that. It's about, you know what I mean, I worked so hard on this, it's not about just passing with points. It's about executing, you know what I mean, everything you've been doing. So knocked that out, got to the road test. And we went through the road test with our instructors on Tuesday to get us ready for the Wednesday test. And we went through the different turns and we were the whole route, the roundabout, turning on the four-way, slowing down, going slow through the roundabout and all like that. So I ended up, you know, knocking that out, doing my mirror checks, reading off all the, you know, street sign story time, talking about all the signs I'm seeing, you know what I mean? Make sure I'm attentive, you know what I mean? Being mindful of my speed, my lane changes and all that. So we get to the point where we do that tough right turn where you got to kind of shoulder it and then bend it back in and then open it back up so you don't hit the curb, because you hit the curb, that's an auto fail. So we get there, I get in the right lane, getting ready to do that turn. It's buku police blocking off that area where we make that hard right turn and then we come around the roundabout. So he like, bro, you got to get back over. I'll tell y'all a funny story about that once I finish. So I got to get back over. Luckily, a truck let me through, so we just keep going. And then we end up making a right and then finding like a big trailer park, and I just did my roundabout there. So we practice on going around the roundabout. So once I get into there, I'm trying to like go slow and do it like, he like, come on, bro, turn that wheel. Like, let's go. Like, he was like, bro, you ready, you good, you got this. Like, you ain't got to do all that, you know what I mean? But the way they trained us is just to be prepared and do things to the T. So that's what we was trying to do. But he was like, come on, man, turn that wheel. Let's get up out of here. Get on back, bro. So I get back, you know what I mean? He just like, bro, I don't know if I'm supposed to tell you, but, you know, you passed. And I just tried to play it humble, you know what I mean? I walked off. Everybody's sitting there looking like, did he pass? I just, you know what I mean? Boom, just stale face. Just like, you know what I mean? But the shit was surreal, though, man. Knocked that shit out. And I ain't gonna lie, I got emotional on the way there, bro, because it's like we went through so much to get this done, man. So it just felt good to knock it out. But the story about not having to do that hard right turn in that roundabout was all them cops being there. Someone got shot and killed right there that morning, like probably like right before we even got over there, you know what I mean? And then when we ended up going to Cinco de Mayo, you know, for a little celebration, get something to eat, because we've been eating commissary in the hotel and that little BS hospital food they've been feeding us. But I'm grateful, you know what I mean? Anything above nothing is you know, we grateful for. Alhamdulillah. But just keeping it 100, you know what I mean? But so we finally got a meal, and we end up seeing that situation on the news. Like the shooting and all that blocked off our turn for our test. And that's like the hardest part of the test for real, that hard right turn and that roundabout and all like that. That's like the hardest. And the fact that happened, someone got shot, that shit was on the news. It was just like, man, that's crazy. That was like just a crazy thing that transpired, you know what I mean? And it was raining hard before and a little bit after our test, but it didn't rain during. So it was just like, you know, divine, man, and we all got it knocked out. It started with 9 of us, and then it trimmed down to 7 of us, and then 7 of us actually got to take the test. One guy forgot all his credentials, license, all this stuff. That's a whole nother story. And it kind of almost threw off the beginning of our day because our instructor was pissed, and then we almost got in an accident low-key with him. And it was just, you know, I ain't gonna get into all that, but it was just kind of crazy. But like I said, I was so locked in, listening to Went Legit, listening to, you know, my vibes, my music staying in my pocket, because I just knew, you know, I sacrificed too much to be here, you know what I mean? And, you know, to choose a new career path, and, you know what I mean? About to become a father, become a husband, you know what I mean? Propose to my wife. And, you know, make everything official and stuff like that. Like, it was just a lot of pressure on delivering and getting this done. I never had really no doubt that I would get it done, but I definitely went through the fire getting through this, you know what I mean? And being away from my loved ones, my family, my mom, my wife, the boys, you know what I mean? Her being pregnant, you know what I mean? And us finding out it's a boy, it's a son, you know what I mean? So it's just like, it was just challenging, you know what I mean? But God is, you know, blessing us, and, you know, He gonna reward you for, you know what I mean? Yeah, for your sacrifice, you know, for all that you endured. So, you know what I mean? And it's all for the better, to make us better, to make us grow. So just wanted to tap in with y'all, let y'all know, man, I went and got my CDLs with Roehl, you know what I mean? It was a beautiful experience, you know what I mean? Family atmosphere, great training, you know what I mean? Accelerated program, definitely learning curve, but great people, hands-on, helpful, you know what I mean? Great group of people that I came in with that actually got their CDLs, and You know what I mean? I can't complain, you know, getting paid throughout the process, you know what I mean? They took care of your stay. Certain things you do got to take care of, but, you know, that's another story. But it was a great experience, and I'm just glad to be at the end of it. You know, we doing flatbedding, so we got to do 4 days of load securement. So I got 1 day tomorrow, and then I'm out of here, going to Midway, Chicago, back home to Cleveland to have my, you know what I mean, my weekend with my family, my loved ones, you know what I mean, to propose, spend time with my mom, my dad. For my wife Zara to meet my mom and dad, spend some time with her mom and dad, spend some time with the boys, break the news to everybody that, you know, we having a baby and it's a boy and all this stuff. So I'm excited. It's a blessing, man. And I'm just, you know, grateful to Allah, you know what I mean? And just him building up my character, me having an amazing Ramadan this past Ramadan, and just being in solidarity, being in South Florida with them, and building our connection and shaping and scoping our future and what we want to do for the long haul, and building this family and merging our families together. And, you know, it's never easy. Number one, relocating to a new city, looking for new work, a career path, you know what I mean? Becoming a father, wanting to become a husband, like that's a lot of things to take on at once. You know what I mean? But at the same time, when you're looking to make a quantum leap and really lean into a new era and step up as a man, you know what I mean? It's really nothing that you can't handle and take on, you know what I mean? If you properly intentional about it, you pray about it, you fast, you know what I mean? You bring your all to it, and you get the blessing of God, and you're dealing with the right variety of people, like I am with my wife and her family and my family, and just all of that stuff. So don't want to get too deep into personal stuff, but man, shout out to Roehl, got the job done, and we're gonna be getting into phase 2 real soon. I go home, we're guaranteed 5 days off. I'm supposed to be meeting my fleet manager, so, and then once we go home and get our CDL, and we submit that information, that's when they'll start finding us a driver trainer, and then they'll route that person close to us so we can start going on the road with them. And then we'll be with our driver trainer for, you know, 21 days up to like 30 days. And then once we get on our own, we'll come back, get evaluated, get issued our truck, and then we can go out there and really make some top dollar and go from there. So put my year in with this company, 120,000 miles, and then, you know what I mean, sit back at a table with my wife, with my dad, figure out, you know, where I want to go with my CDL, with my trucking endeavors and this trucking enterprise. Do I want to, you know, tap in with my dad and build that company, or do I want to still go out here, you know, and get my experience in other things, become owner operator, lease to own, you know what I mean, or whatever the case may be. But also, you know, be closer to where my wife and kids are in Florida, and just, you know, just line all those things up and make it all make sense. So, but also, you know, get my first property, inshallah, in Cleveland, and also, you know what I mean, inshallah, I get a property out in Florida too, and just continue to stack, you know what I mean, and just, you know, lean into that era, just prioritizing, just, you know, being a family man. So we here, we did it, you know what I mean, job is accomplished, but it's always on to the next, man. Job done, but, you know, it's about the next thing. So leave y'all to that, get this workout in, and get ready to knock out this last day, man. Get back home to Cleveland. But peace and blessings. And you know what I mean, tap in with me for those that's looking to get their CDL. You know what I mean? I got plenty of information and content, especially on this company. They'll pay for you to get your stuff. You know what I mean? And if that's what you're looking to do. So also, I talked to my boy Jersey, and, you know, it's a lot of opportunities in the box trucks game too, if that's the lane you want to go to. But, you know, just giving y'all my story, man. It's Hive Jordan Stout here, Stout Trucking, Stout Transport here. Get your CDL program with Roehl. We just knocked out phase 1, man, and leave it at that. Boy, get this workout in. Get these dumbbells, get this core in. So peace.